Well, there's a gentleman who runs a fine website called theroyalhalf.com. I'm looking at it right now, and it's great, Peter, because they call it the recap for Game 2, Draped in Defeat. Of course, talking about John Hamm's character, Don Draper, in my favorite show, Mad Men. And there's some great photos. The one with Mr. Hamm, unshaven, wearing a St. Louis Blue cap, a big St. Louis Cardinal fan. And Boomer tells me a big Pittsburgh Steeler fan, too. Oh. I don't know how that fits in. I guess he likes one team to win. Well, no, the Cardinals win, too. And then he's got, the Royal Half has got great pictures of John Hamm as Don Draper doing his crying scene. So check it out yourself, theroyalhalf.com. Let's get the gentleman on. As he said on his website, and yes, I checked it on you. Yeah, bastard. That said, we only have you on when things go bad for the Kings. Yes, we are guilty of that. Let's have you on when things are going well. Mr. Half, how are you doing?
I am doing as well as a person who's used to losing for 44 straight years can do in this situation.
So since you're a savvy hockey fan, you've been down this road before. 93 was the high point of getting to a Stanley Cup final. You're not celebrating yet. Are you going to feel better after tomorrow night if they take the 3-game lead? Well, of course you will, but
I will not feel confident until Dustin Brown is lifting the Stanley Cup over his head. And even then, I still will be worried that maybe Gary Bettman will take it away and give it to Phoenix or something.
That's right. Well, thanks for winning, but you're fine. You don't need this cup. Dustin Brown, boy, there's a name. Let's talk about some of the performance on the Kings that have gotten them this 2-game lead. Got them over the Canucks and now have them in the 2-game lead. He's got to be one. And Jonathan Quick's the obvious name, but Brown has got to be one of those candidates right now for the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation if he was going to be traded at the deadline, and I think his name got floated. And I don't think Dean Lombardi was ever serious about trading him, but I'm glad that report was out there because it kicked him into complete overdrive, and he has taken this team on his back. I mean, the Kings have 4 shorthanded goals in the playoffs. They have 3 power play goals in the in the playoffs.
Yep.
Dustin Brown has had a part of each one of those shorthanded goals, scoring 2 of them himself. So yes, Jonathan Quick is the reason why the Kings are 5-0 on the road and 6-1 against the first and third best overall teams in the NHL. But Dustin Brown has been the offensive force on this team.
Okay, so it's easy now to look back and say, Mr. Lombardi knew what he was doing, making all these great moves. We're behind him 100%. But I'm telling you, Mr. Royal Half, and Peter can attest to this, a lot of the callers to the War Room, we get a lot of callers from the L.A. area. I mean, it's a lot of people live down there. And most of them wanted the neck, the head, the body of Mr. Lombardi out in the streets, torn to pieces. That's what they wanted. When he made some moves around the trade deadline, and Jeff Carter and all that, did you at the time think they were going to have such a reverberation through the roster?
Well, the greatest, forget about making the second round for the first time since 2001. The greatest goal that this team has achieved is saving Dean Lombardi's job.
All right.
He was in a complete panic situation. He brings in Daryl Sutter, his old friend and his old reliable coach, and everyone. And I think you and I talked about that before he got hired, that what a panic move this was. And then, he trades for Jeff Carter, who's got, this crazy contract and this history and has been playing, awful in Columbus. So I don't think he had any sort of master plan. I think he was grasping at straws. But he's definitely saved his job for another year. And Daryl Sutter, we can talk about Quick, we can talk about Dustin Brown. Daryl Sutter is the MVP of this team right now. For some unforeseen reason to me, he's found a way to get this team working and to get them the win. And he's put in a system that is, defensively on par with what Terry Murray was doing, but he's not switching the lines around. He's getting that fourth line quality time, which can, have some scoring chances and speed. He has single-handedly led this team into the playoffs.
I think if we remember when Daryl was hired, then one of the things, everybody said is, it's basically, like you said, playing the same way that Terry Murray played. But at the same time, he wasn't getting the contributions Terry was from the likes of the guys like Dustin Penner. And somehow one of the big things when Daryl came in was you're going to have to reinvigorate the man called Dustin Penner, the Pancake Boy, and somehow he has done it this time around, at least so far in the playoffs. He is a different player, and you add him into the mix. These are 2 different lines for the LA Kings. One that, maybe, I don't know if they're different, but at the same time, they're difficult lines to play against and hard to match up. Usually, for most teams, you have one line to match up there, the big scoring line, but here, I can honestly say, I don't know if you agree with me, they have two solid lines that can score at any time right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The top two lines. You've got, Kopitar has always been viewed as this number one center, but, the one thing that the LA Kings have been lacking since the days of Bernie Nichols is a second-line center. So now you've got Mike Richards in there, who's been off and on in these playoffs. My personal theory is he's got some sort of injury that he's battling with, because some games, like Monday night in St. Louis, he's completely dominating the games, and other nights he's missing. Dustin Penner, gas prices have been up and down less than Dustin Penner this season. He is just the biggest enigma on this team. You're looking at a guy who's got 2 goals and 4 assists in 7 playoff games. He had 7 goals and 10 assists in the regular season. But when he got promoted from the third line, which he played probably the last 20 games of the season, he played on the third line. When he got promoted to the second line before the start of the series, people were acting like it was the biggest deal in the world. This is a former 30-goal scorer that the Kings gave up a number 1 pick and a former number 1 pick for. So, yeah, he should be on the second line.
We're talking to the Royal Half. I'll call you the other half. That's someone else. We'll get them on later. Check out his website, theroyalhalf.com. Let me finish off our conversation, and we will check in with you again as the Kings advance through the Stanley Cup final. Hopefully. It doesn't matter. I don't care either way. I like the Kings. But let me ask you this, though. How has the fan reaction been? You've got a 2-game lead. You talked about it. You're cautiously optimistic yourself. This is a very passionate, knowledgeable fan base, at least going by the evidence we get with people who call up and email us. How has this team got the attention of the city? I know the Dodgers are doing well. The Angels are sucking.
Lakers are in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's the NBA playoffs going.
How are the ratings?
How are the Kings making any sort of impact in the greater LA area?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. The Los Angeles-based teams, Angels or in Anaheim, are doing really...
Yeah, but up here, we consider them all the same. You know that. It's just one big area.
Look, there's still a good, there's a steady flow of excitement about it. It does not compete with the Lakers. I think it does top the Clippers, although I'm not quite sure.
Heck, I'd top the Clippers, but yeah, go on.
But, here's the biggest difference between this playoff year and the past 2 playoff seasons that the Kings have been after being out of the playoffs for 8 years. The fans at Staples Center, I dare say, are a little bit more confident. When the playoffs happened 2 years ago and last year, especially with Kopitar being out, us fans wanted to soak it in as much as we could because we knew we would be out of the playoffs in 4 games. Now it's like, wait a second, we might make it into the second round. We might make it into the third round. So, when the Kings were up 5-1 against the Blues, there wasn't one sane Kings fan that was like, okay, we're totally not going to give up 4 goals and lose this game,
right,
because it's happened to this team before. But I think there's a little bit more of confidence and, I dare say, cockiness amongst the fans at Staples Center. In this game, 3 Thursday night, I feel like the crowd's going to be the loudest it's been in the playoff series because now, this team is running on all levels.
Great stuff. Let's get you on again, theroyalhalf.com. Appreciate it. And by the way, the Angels, they call themselves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They don't even know where they are. They're so messed up. And one other thing, if the Kings do win the Cup, the parade has to go by the Honda Center. It just has to rub it in, okay? Thanks.
I'll talk to AEG and make sure that request gets...
Oh, that would be great. Let's get you on again, sir. Thank you.